I genuinely can't believe that I'll be talking about this in 2026, where MAGA voters threatening blacks with slavery to work in their own farms or get deported. This is absolutely insane. The videos you're going to watch is going to expose the truth about the MAGA base and everything that I've been saying for the last couple of days. Please, if you're interested in videos like this, do want to share it, give this video a like, and let's expose what is actually happening and why black culture sensitization is very important. Watch me, let's get into it.
You're not gonna believe this. I saw that someone on Twitter were saying the white farmers on Twitter were saying that when they had all these mass deportations that they just automatically thought that they were going to send the black people to work their farms, the black farmers who had already lost their farms, and just other black people, because they needed the help and they wanted the government to send them, I guess, criminals so they can work on their farms, so they can keep their farms. Because, me keeping my farm and not caring about you and giving you low wages, that's just the American dream, right? Stop it. Y'all need to stop this. This is just totally ridiculous. Little Johnny, little Susie, all the ones that you're paying all this money because you've gotten all this government money for free. You need to go get them out of college, which is what they used to do in the olden days. Get them out of college, get them out of their little jobs, and get them working that farm on the weekend. There you go. See, I fixed it for you.
Let's cut the shit. Slavery in America wasn't just about forced labor. It was about forced birth. America didn't just work enslaved people to death. It bred them. And not like people, like livestock. If the transatlantic slave trade was a kidnapping, breeding plantations were the farm. And I said what I said. After the transatlantic slave trade was banned in 1808, the U.S. had a problem. They still wanted the free labor, but they had no more legal supply. Their solution? Turn black wombs into factories. Breeding plantations, and yes, they were called that, were designed specifically to reproduce more enslaved people. The goal wasn't to grow food, it wasn't to pick cotton. It was to force women to give birth to more product. Because that's what we were. Products. Black women weren't seen as mothers. They were uteruses with the resale value. Their fertility? That was the commodity. And their babies? Assets on a ledger. Let's be real. This was organized. Some enslavers forced women to have 10, 12, 15 children. Not out of love, but out of cold-blooded capitalism. Some kept track of their pregnancies like breeding dogs. Black girls, as young as 13, were to kickstart their production. If they couldn't reproduce, they were often whipped, sold, or killed. And don't you dare forget about the men. Black men were used as studs. That's literally the word they used. They were, too, forced to mate with women chosen by their enslaver, sometimes their own family, sometimes multiple women in a row. Consent was a fantasy, trauma was the norm. And the goal was always profit. Virginia, Maryland, and parts of North Carolina became baby farms for the Deep South. And once those babies hit a certain age, they were sold down the river, often with chains still attached to their mother's arms. This is the legacy that birthed America's wealth. Families like the Talos, the Ball family, and others made millions off of children born from these violent systems. Wall Street was built to insure and trade these bodies. And if you're wondering why black women still aren't believed about our pain, why we're 3 times more likely to die in childbirth, this is the root. Doctors experimented on those same women without anesthesia. Gynecology was literally founded on the abuse of black wombs. So no, slavery wasn't just labor. It was a full-blown human breeding industry. And if that makes you uncomfortable, it should, because America wasn't built by accident. It was built with intentional, systemic, with generational torture passed off as policy. And the fact that you can visit some of these plantations today and see wedding venues instead of crime scenes, that tells you everything about what this country values. Not justice, not truth, just comfort for white folks. But we're not going to be quiet about it. We're not going to soften the language anymore. And we're not going to let the history die just because they're ashamed of it. This happened, and now they're going to hear about it every damn time we speak.
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before. The Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks. The white farmers. So, word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get black Americans in the fields. Because they also thought black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with their whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen. So if y'all got all that straight, this is the message to the white farmers. The last thing you want is for black Americans to be in your fields. Don't let the devil fool you. As a matter of fact, you might want to let the devil fool you to see what's going to happen. Well, I'm trying to tell you, the last thing you ever going to want is black Americans in your fields. Now, I'm going to let you fill in the blank on that one. And this goes to show that they will go to any lengths. Remember I said that, first of all, we had the Latinos, some Latinos, not all of them, just them Cuban ones, talk about you're next, right? To black Americans. So they thought we was immigrants, okay? And so now we have the white farmers who are still living in the 1700s, thinking back to glory days, quote unquote. They thought with their vote, we were going to the fields. So you got one group thinking they gonna kick us out of here, and you got another group of people thinking that we going to the fields. Now this right here is a real mental problem because people are literally stuck. I'm telling y'all, people are stuck in the 1700s when they think about black Americans, okay? I'm telling you, their thought process, they sit around probably campgrounds and picnics and stuff and talk about how can we make this happen? That was their heyday. I'm telling you, when that freaking plantation house burned down in Louisiana, I think, right? That was their heyday. Now, I'm trying to say that was their heyday. When that plantation house down in Louisiana got torched, okay? I'm telling you, that broke them. But I just want to. You know what? I want to teach them a little bit more history if I have your attention, right? If I have your attention, right? This is some history that a lot of people don't know. Okay, but y'all didn't know Black Americans had white servants. Y'all ain't know that. I mean, it wasn't widespread or anything like that, but we had white servants. Yeah, and they wanted to be our servants because they needed work. They were coming over from Europe. Yeah, and they were docile too. Yeah, they were docile, and Black Americans, the aristocrats, the wealthy ones, because they were wealthy ones. Okay, they had white servants. So I don't know if y'all ever see them pictures. Let me find a picture. I couldn't find a picture. I wasn't gonna go back and try to find a picture, but if you can watch videos, you'll be able to find a picture of possibly some black people in the horse-drawn carriages, and there may be someone white as the horseman or the coach. I'm not sure what you call them, coachman or whatever. Yeah, he worked for them. Yes, indeed. It was a big thing. It was a big thing, when everybody began to see in the early 1900s, what? Black Americans, they use the other word. Black Americans have white servants. Yeah, that's a bit of history they don't like to put on TV. And the reason for it is because they were like, okay, they had white people here that they could hire, and they also had black people here that they could hire. But they felt that the white people from Europe were so docile, and they were less expensive. Now, they weren't the only ones who thought that. The wealthy white people thought that too. The wealthy white people were like, yeah, we like the docile immigrant white people. They're a lot cheaper. They take less money. Yeah, so there's a bit of history for you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was like that. Oh yeah, because they knew they would have to pay Black Americans a lot more. Lot more. So they always went for the immigrant. And see, when the Black Americans hired the white immigrants, they were like really like, yes, we will do it. Yes, we will do it, because they want to stay in America. Here's the difference. Here's the difference though. Black Americans didn't mistreat them. They didn't mistreat them at all. But anyway, that's just a little side note. But yeah, to the white farmers again, this is the last thing you want. The last thing you want is for Black Americans to be out in your fields. The last thing you want. Trust and believe. And next time, you know what? Stop basing your vote on how to harm Black Americans, because you're going to end up running into that wall that's going to tumble. Okay? That's what's going to end up happening. Stop doing that. All of you do it. Like, all of you. You had the conservative Asian Americans coming through with the whole Ivy League school. We don't want Black Americans there. Then you had the I will vote for Donald Trump Cubans, okay, who were thinking, okay, you're next, okay? Okay, we're not immigrants, so we're not next. And now we have the white farmer who thought that they were going to get the Black Americans in the fields. And then this is all off of Project 2025. So now look where you got America. Look where you got the United States of America. And a lot of people say, why Black Americans think everything revolves around them? No, y'all think everything revolves around us because y'all make everything revolve around us. Y'all stuff coming out.
So now that I have fallen down this rabbit hole, I just jumped onto Twitter's. And I got an alt Twitter where I pretend to be a MAGA guy. And I saw a live. And I am not kidding you. This dude, all these dudes these farmer dudes in there, these farm owner dudes, are saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying. That's what you thought. It's still going right now. And I'm not going to post a link to it because I don't want to give these people a voice. But They think they're in a safe space on Twitter. They're not.
What type of get out, modern day slavery shit is going on in Florida right now? So a guy and his girl was riding down a road in Florida and saw black people, and it looked like they was picking cotton. So he stopped his car to see what was going on, because that shit looked like a scene out of a movie. Matter of fact, look at this shit. Look at this shit right here.
Hey, excuse me, what are y'all picking? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this going on? Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Okay.
All right. Are y'all okay out here? You sure? Y'all good? Okay. How long have y'all been working out here? Okay, thank you.
Nah, that shit don't look right. When he drove up, it was a white man in the truck. The white man that was in the truck started driving off. He put his head down so he wouldn't be filmed. What the hell is going on over there? If you go to his page, you will see he has up like about 4 videos speaking about this. Now tell me that shit didn't look odd to y'all. What do they have those people out there picking? And why are those people out there like that? That shit don't make no sense, man. We gonna have to get on top of this. I'm out.
So them farmers really thought we was coming to get in them fields? Is that what I'm reading? Y'all really thought we was coming to get in those fields? It's funny when black people say stuff. Like over a year ago, when we said that, Donald Trump specifically saying that immigrants were coming over here to steal black jobs meant that him deporting them was supposed to open the door for us to get back in the fields. Of course, immediately, most people said, y'all are reaching. Now here we are. They are literally on Twitter, all over social media, complaining about the fact that we did not come into those fields. I get the unemployment rate is rising rapidly in the black community. I believe for us, it's about 7% compared to about 4.5% for just about any other demographic. But that also means that 93% of us have jobs. 93% of us are working. And 93% of us were never coming out into those fields to pick your stupid crops. Y'all are supposed to be the pick them up by their bootstraps people, right? Y'all are always the ones talking about earn this, that, hard work, this, that. But then y'all never want to do your own damn work. Y'all brought us over here, all right? We spent hundreds of years doing that stuff for free. We spent another 100 years after that with Jim Crow rights. We fought, bled, died, protested, did everything we possibly could to gain the rights that we have now. We live in this country, we work, we own businesses. We are not going back to your fields. Can y'all just let that shit go? Like, can y'all let it go? It ain't gonna happen. And there's nothing you're gonna do to make it happen. You don't got the numbers. You don't have the manpower. We're not going back. The experiment failed, okay? And now guess what's happening? Food is rotting in the ground because y'all really thought we was coming back out there.
The level of determination that has been dedicated to try to ensure that Black Americans do not thrive is not by accident. And that is the reason why Black farmers are being shut out again. While the Trump administration rolls out financial lifelines for white farmers, Black farmers are being left out, overlooked, and pushed closer to extinction. And if it weren't for people like John Boyd Jr. sounding the alarm, this story would stay buried in the soil. Let's talk about history. Black farmers once owned 14% of United States farmland. Today, less than 1.3%. How, Sway? I'll tell you. Generational land theft, discriminatory USDA policies, and a long history of being denied access to the very tools white farmers receive as default. And now, in 2025, the Trump administration is doubling down, offering federal farm credits, subsidies, and contracts almost exclusively to white farmers. farmers, and they're doing it in broad daylight. John Boyd Jr. has entered the chat.
My name is John Boyd, founder and president of the National Black Farmers Association.
John Boyd Jr., a fourth-generation American farmer, is out here telling the truth.
You need to rise up and speak out now, not later, because if we don't, they're going to continue to take this country down a pathway that is going to take decades to get away from.
He says it clearly. It's not that we don't want to farm, it's that the system doesn't want us to succeed. Let's be clear. This is not about charity. This is about fairness, about access, about survival. The federal numbers don't lie. In 2021, the Trump administration handed out $26 billion in pandemic farm relief. Black farmers received 0.01% of this relief fund. And in 2025, with new rounds of credits going out, the same pattern is repeating. White farmers are getting bailed out. Black farmers are getting boxed out.
I'm looking for $5 billion in debt relief, and I'm asking the Federal Court of Appeals to reverse the decision and grant 17,000 black and other farmers of color 120% debt relief.
The stakes are higher than food. This isn't just about crop yields or subsidies. This is about land, food justice, generational wealth, and the right to live and work with dignity. Black farmers aren't asking for special treatment. They're asking for equal footing. We can't keep letting politicians toss our people aside while offering refuge and resources to others. Not because they're in greater danger, but because they fit a preferred political narrative. If we care about sustainability, food security, or economic justice, we cannot leave black farmers out of the conversation. Their legacy is American history. Their land is American land, and their fight deserves our full support.
I don't care what they say. I'm not going to stop fighting, and you should not stop fighting in this country.
Peace, y'all.
It won't come as a surprise to many of you to know that Donald Trump lied once again. He said we were going to go after the employers for hiring undocumented workers, while at the same time telling the Department of Labor, don't enforce that rule. We're not going to go after the employers. And then subsequently announcing on another press conference that we can't go after the farms and the hospitality workers, and now expanding it to not just farm and hospitality, but, quote, other sectors. Check this video out.
No problem. The farmers know them. We're going to put, it's called farmer responsibility or owner responsibility, where they're going to be largely responsible for these people. And they know these people. They've worked on the farms for 15 years, and all of a sudden they've... So I have a great, Ron does, Christy does, we have a great feeling for the farmer and for others in the same position. And we're going to give them responsibility for people. And we're going to have a system of signing them up so they don't have to go. They can be here legally. They can pay taxes and everything else. They're not getting citizenship, but they get other things. And the farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able...
Owner responsibility? Owner? Like, seriously? Did we go from slavery to Jim Crow to right back to slavery? Owner responsibility? These farmers are going to own their workers? And the new legislation that you're going to pass or executive order in is going to give these farmers the right to pay these workers whatever they want? No minimum wage, no work visa to make them legal workers, and they're tethered to that, quote, owner, end quote? Like, seriously? How is this American? How is this the land of the free and the home of the brave? Ham and eggers, wake up. This is what we voted for, America. This is disgusting.
So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady, and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, like, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Like, where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working. Got so caught up in what they were hearing at Fox News and other places thinking black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs, that they just assumed they'd get rid of the immigrants and black people would take the immigrants' jobs? Sir, our ancestors did not march, die, and fight for civil rights so we could go back to the fields? Like, what? But shout out to the Latino immigrant population that have mastered that labor with skill and stamina. This country doesn't even appreciate it enough. Oh, and by the way, when they do try to hire Americans, black or white, to do those jobs, most of them don't even last half a day. They just ghost them without even picking up their paychecks. True story. So y'all, tell me, do you really believe that they thought black people were planning to replace immigrants in that labor force if they got deported? Because I need to know who was smoking that logic. What do you think?
I'm seeing way too many black Americans upset about the United Nations' most recent resolution, saying that reparations is for only black Americans and it's lineage based. Have we lost our damn minds? When those ships left Africa, they didn't just stop in America. They went to Jamaica, the Virgin Islands, Brazil, and a couple of other places. And those people were also enslaved, not just us. So as a black American, thank you Ghanaians for getting the world to recognize slavery as a crime against humanity, because it is. Thank you Ghanaians for getting the world to have more responsible conversations regarding reparations, because this is truly a very big step forward for the diaspora.
Cancel me like Mr. Chow. Y'all funny because you're trying to underestimate someone who came from the hood too, baby. I match energy. I talk the way you talk and I swivel my head the same way you swivel your head. See, and y'all prove my point. Y'all over here mad. I'm using the same words y'all using because you use it so much. You normalize the damn word. Imagine hating the word so much, but yet you still use it on your own folks. And another thing, if you want to cancel all these business, by all means, go ahead and try to cancel every single one of them. Boycott every single one of them. Boycott the hair. Walk around with your bald ass head. Don't eat the Chinese food. Don't do any of that, okay? Because let me tell you, there is not enough black-owned business for y'all trying to cancel everybody, boycott this, and let's not do this. You wouldn't survive. You would not survive in that community.
This MAGA maggot thinks he can. This is a threat. This is a threat. And I'm going to report it because what I was talking about was how the mice had been the culprit to my AC. And I was talking about mice, rats, and squirrels, how destructive they are and they need to be extinct. And he said the gay community. That's a threat against my life. And I can guarantee TikTok isn't going to do shit. And this is what's fucking scary about being gay today. We got fucking Looney Tunes. And he's probably a bot. But you know what? It's still a fucking threat. It's still a fucking threat, bitch.
I have no doubt in my mind that the map's gonna pass. If y'all can give us less than 0 seats, you would do it. Y'all do this under the orders of somebody that said the Civil Rights Act was harmful to white people, that it caused reverse racism. RFK said that black children are overfilled on antidepressants and that they need to be reparented on different farms, all of them. Pete Hegseth constantly brings Doug Wilson to the Pentagon to give a prayer service. Doug Wilson is the same pastor that said that slave owners were on strong spiritual ground. I don't have no belief in no morality on anybody that followed Donald Trump. If you wasn't with this map, you wouldn't be underneath this president. You wouldn't be in your party. You would stand up, you would stand against it, you would speak out about it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you here as one of these Trump Republicans, you already showed us who you are. You showed us what you want to do. And I believe the country as a whole is rebuking your party. Y'all are in a death spiral. That's why y'all have to redistrict. That's why y'all have to cheat. That's why Trump got to go to Texas and say he entitled to 5 more seats.
It's because y'all know what y'all doing is abhorrent. But the beautiful thing is, the children that y'all have made and the people that's younger than y'all don't support none of this racism that y'all want. The MAGA party is the last breath of the Confederacy. And I'll be happy to see millennials and Gen Z bury y'all. There will be no more of your party. The midterms gonna come, y'all gonna get wiped out. Trump gonna get dragged out of the White House, and I'ma love every second of it.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Apparently there's a shortage of workers on the farm. But don't worry, MAGA. Brooke Collins, who heads agriculture, says that she has a solution. Seems like Trump and Brooke Collins have put their heads together and come up with a solution to solve the problem on the farms losing workers. Let's watch the video and see what Brooke Collins has to say to solve this issue.
Score enough. There will be no amnesty. The mass deportations continue, but in a strategic way, and we move the workforce towards automation and 100% American participation, which again, with 34 million people, able-bodied adults on Medicaid, we should be able to do that fairly quickly. Thank you.
Did you hear that, MAGA? They're saying if you're able-bodied and on Medicaid, you are going to work in the fields. MAGA, this is where it hits you. You're going to work in the fields. And you're going to see what it's like for these undocumented immigrants to come.
Okay, y'all, watch this with me.
But basically admitted this week that a lot of the things that he's been doing, a lot of the policies, a lot of the executive orders that he's been signing off on was all made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. It was made with the intention of getting black people back into the field. All right, so on Tuesday, Donald Trump made an appearance, right, on CNBC's Squawk Box. And on that platform, he actually made a lot of commentary in regards to the situation with the deportations, migrant workers, the state of America's agriculture, and he made comments on inner city people not doing farm work. I want you to always remember that when they mention inner city, that means black. In Donald Trump's exact words, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. Naturally. They don't get a bad back because if they get a bad back, they die. He also went on to say that they are very, very, very special people and they cannot be easily replaced. Remember what I said, anytime that they mention the words inner city people, inner city communities, inner city neighborhoods, that's black. That's code for black. Black, blackity black, okay? Black people. And it is because of that exact commentary that it reconfirms for me, okay? Not confirms, but reconfirms, meaning that I already knew. But it reconfirms that the plan from the very beginning with these executive orders, right, was to further destabilize black communities, further destabilize poor communities, but black mainly, so that you could put pressure on these communities so that you could get them to go back into the field, right? And then once you get them back in the field, bingo, you've made America great again.
Now, I'm just going to stop my girl right there because she's making entirely too much sense for the world. I promise you, she's making too much sense for the world. Because when I said that all of this deportation and all of that stuff and him cutting off Medicaid, Medicare, and him, pretty much taking away thousands of jobs, it was all for the sake of putting black people back in the field. And y'all told me I was crazy. And now he pretty much mentioned it out his own mouth by using the words inner city. Y'all know exactly what they mean when they mean inner city. We know this. She explained it. I've been explained it. Y'all know what he mean. So for the ones who said, y'all just over-exaggerating, ain't nobody trying to put black people back in the field. That's not even possible. Where y'all at now that this man is really verbally saying these things? Where y'all at? Because I told y'all that was the ultimate goal. When was America ever great? For everybody. Never. Don't even waste your brain cells trying to think. Never. Making America great again is about putting black people in their place. Okay?
It's very crazy that in 2025, 2026, we're still talking about black slavery. It's disturbing. And anytime I think about slavery and I think about the fact that people are trying to send away migrants, it begs me to ask the question to my own self that the whites that came into the United States, didn't they invade someone else's land? In fact, the Indians, I think that's how they're called, those red Caucasians, right? Didn't they invade people's lands? And if those people were to tell them to go back to their original lands, how are they going to feel? Because right now it seems like they're trying to make America their own, meanwhile America isn't theirs, to be honest. And come to think of it, MAGA voters claiming they want slavery. Now, I think not every MAGA voter wants that, but I think I've seen a couple of videos where they don't say it explicitly, they say it indirectly. And in 2026, we're still talking about that. We're still talking about sending blacks to farms. Isn't that crazy enough? I think when they started with all the deportations and sending away of illegal migrants, the first thought they had is, oh, blacks are going to take up their farm clothes and go back to work in the fields, work for these white American farmers. But guess what? The American farmers are not just suffering, but they can't make a livelihood. Blacks don't want to go back to the farms. They are really comfortable. They're able to grow their own self products. And of course, they are doing white collar jobs as well. So if in 2026 we're still talking about enslaving black people, despite the fact that we've suffered for the longest period, and I'm one of those people that always advocate for reparations for especially the older generations and the people who are existing now that their parents have suffered torture and all those in the past. I strongly believe in reparations because it doesn't make sense that these whites are one step ahead of us. There was a time when wealth was only transferred towards one direction. You guessed it. It was transferred only to the white side of it. But we blacks had to suffer. We had to try out on our own, and that's why we are steps behind. I know now we're catching up, we're growing, we're improving, but I still feel like there's still a lot more that needs to be done. There needs to be some sort of reparation handed to black people. But in 2026, me seeing people talking about sending people back to the farms to go work, it scares me. And it scares me especially when there are people from the Conservative Party increasingly saying this, because I think I've never seen a video of a Democratic Party. If there's any, let me know. But what I've seen is that these conservative speakers and all these people, they tend to say it indirectly. They don't say it explicitly like that, but they infer to sending blacks back to slavery to work on their farms. And I don't know where this is going to head to, because the black community is growing, it's only becoming stronger, and you preaching this kind of message is definitely going to affect the Conservative Party next year, honestly. Well, we've gotten to that age, and I think these videos you've watched have explained the brutal reality of what is happening today. Thank you for watching this video. If you love content like this, please do subscribe, give this video a like, and I'll see you in another one. Bye bye.